Good morning, everyone. Today we will discuss the cereal and legume processing, and from this subject, we are today discussing the topic wheat flour milling. In this session, we will discuss the what is milling, what are the processes, and what are the various steps that are involved in the wheat milling. So, milling is a word that is used equally used for the all kind of cereal grains, like we can mill rice grains, wheat grains, barley grains, and also corn. So basically milling is a size reduction process in which we can finely grind the grains or kernels into a fine powder or any other kind of material. Like from wheat we can also produce semolina, that is a coarse material. We can if we can didn't if we doesn't finely grind the wheat grain. So from starting we will discuss what is milling. Milling is a process used to grind wheat or other material into the flour. In this means that we can finely grind, we can reduce the size of the grain to fine powder form product that is known as flour, which is used for the production of different kind of material like bread, biscuits, in the bakery products like cake, and also we can prepare chapatis and other kind of material. So it is the raw material that is used for the production of different kind of food products. Milling is the refers to the process of breaking down, separating, sizing and classifying aggregate material, which means that we can break down the kernels, we can separate out the parts like germ, endosperm, bran, and any other parts, and we can separate them. We can separate the endosperm, bran into the different parts. Sizing means that we reduce the size of kernel to the fine powder. Then next is wheat flour milling. First is the aim of milling. We all know that the aim of the flour milling is that to separate the bran and germ of the wheat kernel from the endosperm. And second one is to grind the separated endosperm into the suitable particle size of the flour. First of all, we separate the endosperm from bran and germ. Second thing, from that endosperm we can produce a suitable particle size of the flour, like we can convert the endosperm into the fine product that is known as flour. The first and the foremost step during the flour milling is cleaning. Cleaning is a process by which we can remove the impurities, like physical impurities, like fecal matter of the rodents, insects, like dead insects, infestation of the grain with wheat with the other grains, and also the magnetic or metal impurities. We can detect it with the help of metal detectors. By using aspirators or by using fans, we can remove the dust and the mites from the wheat kernels. So cleaning is the first and foremost steps. In the basic if we see that the people from the villages usually clean the wheat grains by washing them, and after that, after drying, by reducing its moisture content by sun drying, they use or they finely grind the wheat into the wheat flour. So at industries, the magnetic separators, washer stoners, are the aspirators are used to reduce the impurities and for the cleaning of the wheat grains. Cleaning carried out based on the differences between sound grain and unwanted material. So as we discussed, that cleaning is done to separate the sound grains and the unwanted material. That unwanted material might be the fecal matter, the insects, the rodents, and the infestation of the wheat grain with the other material. By also we can separate the broken kernels on their basis, like they have discussed the size, dimension, shape, specific gravity, different surface friction, magnetic properties, friability under impact. So by considering these points, we can clean the wheat kernels or wheat grains. Magnets or removing equipments are magnetic separators. They with the help of magnet we can remove the metal impurities. So like this, gravity separates that remove impurities similar to the wheat in size but different in specific gravity. Next is scoring. In this process, wheat removes any dirt adhering on the kernel, like the soil or the dust particles that are sticked on the wheat kernels. Due to aspirators, we remove the lighter impurities that are lighter in weight than the wheat kernel with the help of airstream. And the last one, disc separators, in which we can remove the impurities that are similar in size but different in shape from the wheat kernel, like the other infestation of the grains with other grains. So second step during the wheat milling is tempering or conditioning. During tempering or conditioning, we just adjust the moisture level of the wheat grains before milling. A water-soaked toughened bran soften endosperm for earlier milling. The primary aim of tempering is to mellow endosperm and toughen. Like in this process, we soak the grains into the water so that we can adjust its moisture level, and endosperm becomes soft and mellow. So it will be the easier during the milling process to separate the endosperm part. In this process, bran absorbs the proper amount of moisture and becomes elastic and will not disintegrate during grinding to contaminate the flour with fine particles. As we discussed earlier, during milling, we separate the bran, husk and endosperm. If we have done proper tempering, so the bran particle does loosen its ability to mix with the endosperm part, so that basically we can reduce the kind of chances of contamination of the flour with the bran. Mellow endosperm breaks off the bran during grinding and less power is required. Okay, like we require less power for the fine grinding of the wheat grains into the flour. We didn't require any repeated grinding or bypassing the wheat grains repeatedly from the milling section. So the temperature at which we can temper the wheat grains is likely 25 degrees Celsius. Temperature above 50 degrees Celsius will change the endosperm starch and protein characteristic. As we know that the temperature affects the quality of the grain, so if we increase the temperature up to 50 degrees Celsius, then the characteristic of starch and proteins will change. As we know that starches and protein are changes their properties according to the temperature. Average temperature for tempering is 36, 10 and 6 hours for time is 6 to 36 hours, that for the hard, soft and durum wheat respectively. Like according to the variety of the wheat, the time for the tempering changes. As we know that the wheat is classified as hard and soft wheat. Soft wheat requires less time for tempering, as the wheat grain is hard of soft type, it required less time. Next is purification. Purification machine is one in which air current are drawn from 1 to 3 layers of the sieve in a reciprocating motion. The purifier's main purpose is to separate particles into fractions of pure endosperm, a mixture of particles to which bran is attached and bran particles. In this process, from the endosperm, we remove the bran attached and bran particles, which is considered as contamination or impurities in the wheat flour. So next is breaking or break system. After tempering and after purification, we reduce the size of the wheat kernels so that we can convert them into wheat flour. Like objective of the break system is break rolls is to open the kernel from the crease and scrap endosperm. Crease is the central portion of the wheat grain which closed the seed. So from that point we break the break rolls, break the seed and convert into two parts. By this way the endosperm becomes free. Initial grinding stages in the milling process is named as break. The first step of the milling is break, that is the separating of the wheat kernel into two different parts. So for the break system or the grinding or breaking, the diameter range for the rollers is 180 to 350 mm to 1500 mm. The speed must be 650 rounds per minute or rotate per minute. And the differential speed range is in the ratio of 2.5:1 or 1.5:1. Then next is sieving. Sieving is basically process by which we can separate the particles according to their size. The mixed heterogeneous material is sieved by sieving machine called plan sifter, which encloses up to 8 compartments, each having up to 26 sieve frames. Sieve frames means sieve frames is a set of the sieves of different pore size or different mesh size, by which we can separate out the different kind particles size grains. In the plan sifter, particles of the ground material are separated according to their size. Next is sizing. The objective of sizing is to reduce the particle size and separate the attached bran fraction from the endosperm. The attached bran is removed at the sizing point, in which we reduce the particle size of the grain, that is after sieving. Material from sizing stage can be diverted to purifiers, to middlings for final reduction, or flour as a final product. The type of material that we received after sieving and after sizing, we send them to the next section so that it can finally be converted into flour. Some millers use corrugated rolls or sizing stages, while others smoother rolls. Smoother rolls that are without any corrugation or any kind of the structures that are formed on the rollers. Corrugated rolls are the type of rolls which have the rough surface or that have the any kind of protrusions on the surface. Next is reduction. Coarse and fine endosperm particles from the break purifiers and sizing in the milling are reduced to flour particles using the reduction or the smooth roll. In reduction and smooth rolls, we can convert the break particles or pure endosperm into the fine flour particle that is used in the different kind of processes in bakery, at home, and by converting for conversion of in the flour into different food goods. During reduction, high pressure is exerted on the material in the reduction stage, so that due to the friction, we basically see observe that the freshly grind flour or the freshly flour that is at industries or at the atta chakkis that have a slight higher temperature, that is slightly hot due to the high pressure and due to the friction that are produced in the processing of conversion of grain into the flour. The reduction system may affect the quality of end product as high compression and shear forces are applied. It may affect the quality as the heat may damage the type of nutrients present in the flour or any kind of other quality defects. So in this presentation and in this section, we have done this topic up to reduction, and in the final product we produced after the fine grinding, after the fine milling of the product, is wheat flour. In our next section, we will discuss the different type of the food products that are prepared from the wheat flour, like bread, bakery products, and other kind of food products. So thank you for listening.